Hey everyone, I'm JD Houvener, host here of the Bold Patent Show, and you've made it. Welcome to our program today. We're going to be talking about fundraising, and this show is specifically for entrepreneurs, business owners, and inventors. We're going to be talking about patents and trademarks specifically, and hopefully my co-host can show up here in just a second, Matt Kulseth. He is our trademark attorney here at Bold Patents and can help answer any questions on the trademark side. We're here answering live questions first and foremost. For any of you out there that are watching live, I will prioritize those questions throughout the program. And we do have 3 preloaded questions that came in from avo.com throughout the week. We'll get to those too. So this is a blast. We're starting out 2023 with flair. And this is our first show that we're doing here. Matt, welcome in. How are you?
Sorry, good. Sorry, I'm running a little late today.
No sweat at all. No problem. We're going to feature you, and you didn't know this in a later segment, but I do want to let people know right out of the gate about a little something you do, and you don't talk a lot about. But you, sir, are a volunteer firefighter. Are you not?
I am.
Actually, you're wearing a sweater. There it is.
It is my most comfortable sweater.
Hey. So we have a special segment, a Shark Tank pitch duo that are also firefighters. So we'll get your input on that product.
Cool.
Real quick though, so as you do volunteer, what city are you in there?
So I live in Minnesota, western suburbs, Minneapolis. I'm with the Long Lake Fire Department, and we serve 4 different communities. So it's a pretty big department where we have 2 stations and 45 firefighters, men and women.
Yeah. And that's wonderful.
But as a volunteer fire station, basically we do a lot of medical calls. So say 80% of what we do is medical, and then 20% is the more fun stuff.
The fire stuff, right? Fun stuff. Okay. Well, that's what this one's talking about, and it's very fascinating. But we're talking about fundraising here, and we got 2 live attendees today.
Are you raising money for us?
Well, no, we're well. I don't see why not. Why not? But no, this is more for inventors, entrepreneurs that are trying to start their companies that may be certainly products related to that area. So happy to answer any questions that come in today. We'll take the live ones as priority. I do see 2 eyeballs out there, so thanks for joining. If you're new to the page, give us a like and share this with your folks on social. We do have a fun show today. No guest. It's a deal with just Matt and I. I know you guys missed Matt last week. I certainly did. Hey, it's all good. You got a lot going on there, saving people's lives and whatnot.
Busy.
Absolutely. So anyone who's interested in giving us a call to see if your trademark or patent needs protecting, check it out. Have a chat. That's a free 20-minute screening session to see if you're a good fit for our services. You can look right behind my shoulder what we do. Which way am I going? There we go. Patents, research, provisionals, non-provisionals, as well as the trademark search and trademark application, office action responses, and oppositions. So I've got a list of 7 things, Matt, and this I might go really long. You got to keep me on track.
That's great.
I'm just going to spitball ways for inventors. I'll just say I like to think about inventors. How are they going to raise money for what they're going to build, how they're going to go to market? Let's start out with number 1, which is bootstrapping. Bootstrapping, which is probably what you thought of, is before you go talk to anybody else, go look at yourself, right? What is in your own savings and maybe your 401k, if it means that much to you, your own assets. Any thoughts about that? Things that you might advise a client? That's bootstrapping.
Yes. I mean, 100%. Like I talk about this a lot with clients, but having a solid business plan, right? And really having a good estimate of what it's going to take to get a product from concept to patent to marketplace. It can be a lot, right? So having a good business plan and a good Excel spreadsheet to kind of plan what's going to cost is important when you figure out how you're going to either bootstrap it or raise capital.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. So if your option is, gathering your own money and figuring it out, ask them those right questions about what costs lay ahead, what professionals, what is ahead of me, what am I going to need to do to get to market? And that might take having a few calls, not just with your trademark or patent attorney, but with a business attorney, with an advisor, a coach, marketing professional, designer, developer, that type of thing. Okay. So fundraising option number 2, we're talking about friends and family.
Yep.
So we talk about this a lot. Our inventors, they're everyday people, just like you and I. And so if you're out of money or you need help, friends and family is what's next. I usually advise, before going out to friends, even friends and family, that you should have a clear picture, like you said, a business plan, what you're going to do with the money, and how much to take. Now, I have heard, right, from business attorneys that we've had on the show, there can be some complications if you decide to take equity, from Uncle Ralph or something, where they expect some sort of, ROI. Is it a gift? Is it a loan? Even though it's family, I think it's important to have it documented. Matt, wouldn't you agree?
100%. 100%. Family's way too important to, screw up with something that goes wrong from a business standpoint, right? So having a clear, rules of the road, expectations, and some legal parameters around this is really important.
Yeah. And, well, we are able to help you get the IP assets here at Bold Patents. We're going to recommend that you get with a business attorney that's local to you to help you with getting that contract in place. It's going to be simple, but as long as it's in writing, you're both going to come back to it later and reconcile any differences. Okay, going to number 3 here. This is institutional lending. Okay, pretty standard. I also put the word credit card. Okay, I mean, so working with a bank or a credit card, this is a way to get money. Okay, like a lot of this is available. Probably going to come at a much higher interest than it might with friends and family.
Yep, but SBA loans, that sort of thing.
Yes, SBA loans, right? Small Business Association, absolutely. So they're definitely a big option. There's likely going to be some collateral at play, with any type of lending like this, perhaps a home, or just proving that you're, in some sort of a stable income. Maybe you've got a day job and you're doing this on the side. Actually, I have not done this, personally. I talk a lot about it. Matt, have you done any of this or worked closely with inventors that have gotten, traditional loans? Can you speak to that?
No, I think it's pretty rare these days.
Okay.
Most of our inventors are, at least in my experience, they're going to bootstrap a lot of it, as best they can. They might
Right.
have some angel investing from friends and families that might be part of their board of advisors or whatever. And then ultimately what they're trying to do is bring on some other capital, whether that's just a larger business associate they might know, company, or even venture capital. But we can talk about venture capital later too.
Yeah, we will for sure. So, this, from my understanding, a bank, you put yourself in the bank's shoes, they're always thinking about worst case before they lend money out. What happens if there's non-payment or default? And, for an existing business that maybe has real estate, for example, or has equipment, things you can put a security on, then that's going to make sense. That is, like you said, it's pretty rare for our inventors, our startups, our first-time inventors to have assets that can truly be collateralized. So that's where this is a little bit challenging. So that is an option that should be considered. I've got option number 4. Let's see if we can get this typed up here. As grant money. Okay. A lot of grant money out there. Okay. This is actually coming up to something we're working on actually locally outside of Bold Patents. My wife and I have a children's museum that we're trying to raise money for, and it's a 501c3. And there's a lot of public money, a lot of grant money available for nonprofits, but there are also grant money. There is grant money available for different types of business. Okay, whether the individual owner is working toward different types of whatever the product or service is that you're doing. If there's a government-backed, incentive, I'm thinking of, for example, out here we got a lot of solar power. There's still a lot of energy, resource-related money available that has been passed through Congress or passed through state bodies. That there's money sitting there, and it can be claimed by for-profit enterprises. And as long as you follow those guidelines, that's money available. So grant money, it may take a lot of money writing it and looking for it, but it certainly can pay off. So the money's just sitting there.
Yeah, I have a client who is in weather forecasting and has some technology in weather forecasting, and they just received $150,000 from NOAA.
Wow. Any restrictions there, red tape, and what can they use that?
I don't know. I don't know the details of it, but they're real excited about it. But it took years. years.
Okay, so not something that happens overnight, but that's definitely an option. Maybe it's something to do in parallel with some of these other options that we're talking about.
Mhm.
Very, very cool. So this next one here is, of course, pretty classic, and this is what we'll talk about here with Shark. The Shark Tanks. They're acting as angel or seed investors, and maybe heading toward venture capital. But I'm putting that down here as angel or seed investors. Okay, and beware of the sharks.
I like that delineation.
Yeah, yeah. So the seed or angel is just sort of the initial major input of capital that's going to make a major difference, and it's for a startup that that is looking for major introductions, trying to get their product into a retail that needs to get over the hump of what might be a major manufacturing spend or tooling expense, where otherwise they just can't quite get there with the other options we've talked about. And that question that comes up all the time in Shark Tank is, okay, what are you going to do with money? Why do you need me? Why do you need this money? And if it's just, I don't know, or if I just, we just need to pay our payroll, that's probably not going to be a great answer. They want to know how it's going to scale and how they're going to get a return on the investment. So typically not going to be able to get this kind of money unless you can convince the angel that you've already got a track record of sales, know how to do it, and you just want to scale it. That's generally what they're looking for, is a quick 2, 3, maybe 5-year escape plan to get their money back on an ROI. So, but is a great option. And I know there's lots of, I was involved pretty heavily in the Seattle area with one called the Kiretsu Forum, where they've got, folks come together, they do diligence, gather information, and have a pitch, real life Shark Tank, and propose investment. And it's a fund, right? So it's multiple individuals that are accredited investors pooling the money together to kind of share the risk involved. But it's a very viable way to go. Option number 6 here, this could have gone earlier before that, but I do want to make sure it's brought up. Crowdfunding, right? This is talked about a lot. I'm going to put microfunding in here. It's kind of in the same bucket, unless do you think it should be separate? What are your thoughts on that, Matt? Have you seen that come up a lot?
Yeah, so I guess here's my experience with crowdfunding is that I don't look at crowdfunding so much as to raise money, as a way to raise awareness. The really successful entrepreneurs that I've worked with who've been successful on Kickstarter platforms like that, they haven't made a dime from it. But what they have made is a lot, and I'll tell you why they haven't made a dime from it. But what they do have is a captive audience now. They have some credibility, right? And they can take that credibility and take it to angel investors and get some larger input and interest.
Got it.
A lot of the times what I see with like successful Kickstarter campaigns is that they actually have a marketing firm and marketing campaign geared towards generating that interest on Kickstarter. So there's like the pre-Kickstarter marketing campaign.
Okay.
That actually generates the Kickstarter success. So a lot of people will tell you that are successful on Kickstarter that Kickstarter doesn't make any money because
they don't make money when using Kickstarter. It just sort of amplifies the volume of people, the user base, maybe just creates the noise.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
but in terms of actual
you might bring in $75,000 on your Kickstarter campaign, but you might have spent $75,000 to get that $75,000 too.
Okay, got it. Not so glamorous, right? Don't just trust the big wins. And I think I've read somewhere some of these platforms will only let you take back if you reach your goal, right? If you don't meet your goal, that all goes to the fundraising source. So there's definitely some fine print to explore with that. There was a comment or question that came in. IP Rain, thanks for your comment here. How many months from the start of my startup can I seek investors for funding? Awesome question. I would just put from the patent perspective, time out, make sure you've got your patent pending. Make sure the key intellectual property assets regarding patentability on design and utility have been filed. Okay, so your patent pending, then you go out and seek investment. That's the only thing I want to say about that. Matt, would you include anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I would substitute months from you could say income. How much income from my startup do I need to have before I go ask for funding? And that's going to depend on who you're asking funding from, right? If it's friends and family, the answer might be 0. You might just be asking them to help fund the patent application, right?
Right.
Angel investing, like that's going to be significantly less than a venture capital firm. If you're going to a venture capital firm asking for money, you better have $1 million in revenue.
Yeah,
Otherwise, they
absolutely.
won't even look at it.
There are those, one in a million, unicorn pre-revenue type of deals, but it's extremely rare. They are the exception. That's for sure. So let's talk about that. Okay, option 7. If there's anything left to talk about, so this is venture capital. Venture capital. This is the stuff in all the shows and the movies and the
This is the
exciting.
sexy stuff, right?
This is the sexy, $1 billion raise.
VC, right?
Yeah.
Aggregators.
How many of your clients? I mean, we personally have not had any clients that have gone down this road. Although I should say we have one, and I'm going to call them out. Lubin, Lubn. Lubin is a smart lockbox. We started with them years ago. They are actually looking at getting VC funding out of the Bay Area, so I'm super excited. Yep. We're waiting for them, but it's rare. It takes time. Yep. Before you set foot in there, before you really are in a way in the right place there, you nailed it, and that you've got to be pretty darn far along and already have gone through a round, if not multiple, with angel, sophisticated, accredited investors before you get to the venture capital.
100%. I mean, like all my clients, they're asking, they go, "What's your goal?" Well, I want to get funded by venture capital. Okay. I mean, I have a side hustle too. I would love to get some VC capital too, but the reality is, in 12 years of doing this work, I have a handful of clients who've made it that far.
Yeah.
Right. And all of those clients, and I talked to a lot of venture capitalists as well, just as part of my networking. The ones that have been really successful with that have all been pretty successful before they went to venture capital, right? We're talking, like I said, $1 million plus revenue, and most of them, like before they got picked up by venture capital, were between 3 and 6 million in terms of annual reoccurring revenues.
Yep, absolutely.
A lot of money.
And just to kind of tip our own hat here, I mean, by the time it gets to angel and VC, you bet your intellectual property assets better be bulletproof, because they've got their own attorneys and they're going to be looking at the work that Matt and I did on your IP portfolio. And if you went bold, you won't have anything to worry about, right? No, seriously though, if you did it on your own, or heaven forbid, you never got any protection, this is where deals get shot down, or you just don't get the deal.
It's kind of funny we're talking about this today, because I actually just introduced one of my clients to a venture capital group. And actually, I shouldn't say that. It's not a venture capital group, because it takes a lot of savvy to understand who you need to be talking to and pitching from a venture capital fund standpoint. So most of the time, like working with a broker or somebody who's a seller side broker is the way to go. Somebody who like knows the players and takes a small piece of the sale, right, or the funding, But that's typically the way so that's who I introduced one of my clients.
Good stuff. Matt, we're going to transition now. I want to make sure to give people contact information. Matt and I, we don't. I shouldn't say. Yeah, but I shouldn't. We don't do finance. We don't give advice on financing. We're talking about this because it's important to you as an inventor entrepreneur and how it relates to IP. Okay, we're here for the ride. We want you to be successful. If you have questions about your invention or your brand, those are the emails to get a hold of right there. That's Matt Kulseth on that side. I'm JD Houvener. Those are our direct emails. So get a hold of us if you have questions about that. I'm going to transition us over to our bold bite.
Yeah.
And we foreshadowed with respect to the firefighter. Matt is a volunteer firefighter out there in Minnesota. So this can be directly applicable here. This is called Rescue Ready. Rescue Ready is the name of the product. So I'm going to share a screen and turn up the volume here, and we'll roll footage and give a critique.
No volume, JD.
Okay, you got no volume. All right. Well, we've been through this before. Let me see if we can do this. What it was before, there's on the audio, it does an automatic mic adjustment. Check. Okay. Let's try again. Okay, testing on the volume. Everybody hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, but then no volume on the page.
No, unfortunately not.
No volume there. Okay. Well, that's another issue with one of these with the screen share. Microphone, camera, manage. I'll have to be able to roll this through.
You could just roll the footage and narrate for us.
Oh man, that's do my I can just tell my social media posts.
So maybe just tell
I'm
us.
gonna lay it out for you guys,
Yeah.
Andrew. You're welcome. So okay, Rescue Ready. They're two really nice guys, firefighters, kind of standard firefighters, just kind of manly dudes, real awesome. They've got a solution for second story for people that need to escape through the window. They went through explaining that the majority of fires these days, a lot more synthetic materials.
Yep.
Things just light up quick, and they mentioned 3 minutes is really all you've got to get out. Does that sound about right?
100% correct. I mean,
And
modern construction techniques today, like houses go up extremely fast with all the petroleum synthetic-based chemicals we use in products.
And they showed an example. They actually had Barbara Cochran put goggles on that simulated being in a smoky room. She's trying to look under the bed for the ladder, and it's impossible. So the other guy, I forget who it was, he had the goggles, and they had their solution, which was a built-in right below the windowsill. I'm going to show the latch. I got to just and then that way you can see it. We'll have to do another dry run.
This sounds like a really easy way to get your girlfriend, boyfriend into your room.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't think about that. That didn't come up. Let's see if I can get
teenager approved. All right, I see it. Oh, that's
so right there, and then I'll let him play it through.
Yeah. Okay. It's nice looking.
Just get the throw. So that's how that works.
Sweet.
Yeah. And they do have a patent pending on it. So good job on them for getting that filed. And I want to show one thing that some of our clients forget to do with their product on their website. So I'll share screen again to show their current website. This is the Rescue Ready site, berescueready.com. They've got the retrofit package, right? Their original design is for basically new construction homes, have it built in.
Yeah.
Hey, this is better than nothing. And what I usually don't see is at the bottom, they did a good job. They put patent pending.
Nice.
And that alone will provide constructive notice. That's what we're looking for. So on any products that after you filed your patent application, the actual product, of course, then any website or material should have just those two words, patent pending. So good job, Rescue Ready, on doing that.
Yeah, no, that's great. What about the logo in the upper left-hand corner? Is there a TM symbol or circle R?
It is a TM, very small little TM. Let's see if I can get a bigger picture. No, yeah, there's a little baby TM there. So are they doing the right thing there?
Yeah, that's so they technically do have a trademark registration for Rescue Ready. I don't see a trademark registration for the logo, just the words Rescue Ready, which is great. I mean, word marks are awesome. So technically they can use the registered trademark symbol, in association with the words Rescue Ready.
Got it.
So yeah, that's great. It seems like they did a good job with their IP.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and they showed kind of the next, the inferior competitor, which was just a loose ladder with, hooks. I've got a single story home, so I don't think about that. But if I was at a second story, with loved ones in there, have you seen any other solutions that come close?
No. I mean, I've seen like the one that you're referencing before, the older version of it, right? But they're pretty unsightly.
Yeah.
So, no, it sounds like a pretty legit solution.
Yeah. We got a question coming in here. IP Rain, maybe a follow up. So he's a college student and would like to start a software as a service and e-commerce startup. How should I go about it? And also, when should I register my company? Probably the company logo, company name?
Yeah. You want me to jump in?
Go for it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's always better to talk to, a trademark or IP attorney earlier rather than later. Because before you probably want to file your LLC for your legal business entity or your corporation or however you decide you want to do it, it'd be good to get that name for your SaaS platform, your e-commerce platform, vetted out by a trademark attorney so that when you do launch, that ultimately the name is available. So most of the time what I encourage clients to do, talk to myself, talk to another trademark attorney, clear that mark. Then we go and have you register your LLC with your Secretary of State. We use the Secretary of State, the LLC that we created there, to own the trademark application. And typically we're going to file those trademarks before you can go to market. So that when you do go to market, the trademark is approved by the USPTO, by the government, and you're ready to register.
One important distinction, and maybe you already hit that and I missed it, but many new entrepreneurs confuse the fact that forming a company in a state is the same as a trademark, and they are two different things, right? So when you're forming a company, usually within the state, the Secretary of State will make sure there's no exact match. But that doesn't at all prevent or it shouldn't be the same thing as getting a federal registration. You should do a federal search to make sure you're not going to be stepping on someone else's toes.
100% agree. Clients get that confused a lot. Well, my company's this name, but you're saying my trademark doesn't include the LLC. They're different. Right. One is a consumer brand, and the other is a legal entity. The other thing that confuses a lot of clients is when you register your business with your Secretary of State. A lot of times they will have a checkbox for would you also like a state trademark.
Right.
It's not a state trademark is not a federal registration. They're different, right? And the state trademark only protects you within the state. And a federal trademark will trump a state trademark. So don't spend the money, 99.9% of the time, don't spend the money on a state level trademark when you can go get a federal registration.
Yeah, I think one of the examples, I don't know if you've given this, but if you're opening up a hair salon, okay, maybe a state registration would be good, but software as a service, e-commerce, no, you're going to be selling outside the state. And it's going to be something important to register at the federal level. Thanks for your question, IP Rain. I like the name, IP. That's good.
Yep.
Good luck to you on your business ventures. Anyway, sorry I couldn't get the audio going. I loved getting that Shark Tank clip.
No, you did a great job. That was great.
Excellent. Well, so we covered fundraising. Any questions you guys have got following up, please send them in. I'll take a look. Again, use that link to schedule a 20-minute screening session with us. You're going to be talking with Dallas Richardson. He'll chat with you, see if what you've got is something that we can help with right away, and get you scheduled with either Matt or with Michael Dodd on the patent side, and get you taken care of. We'll be on next week. We have a guest. We'll be learning about cryptocurrency and diving into the microlending process there, and the NFT and the Web 3.0 world. So from Bold Patents, for Matt Kulseth and I, JD Houvener, wishing you a wonderful rest of your week. Go big, go bold.